What? Oh, you meant showcase.
Showcase.
This is so embarrassing. Okay.
You got this?
I got it. I do.
You sure?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I can't believe that. Have you ever set a goal and didn't achieve it? Don't raise your hands. It's all right. But you're in good company. Recent research shows that 92% of people do not achieve the goals that they set. Isn't that depressing? Like, it's horribly depressing. There's about 100 of us right now in this room. That means only 8 of us are going to achieve our goal. That's scary. Well, I've got some better news. 58% of us set a goal, work to accomplish it for about 4 weeks, and then we lose our momentum and we quit. It's even more depressing, isn't it? Right about now you're thinking, didn't they say he was a motivational speaker? You could go ahead and ask your neighbor, isn't he supposed to be a motivational? I mean, how depressing is that? You know, we don't like to talk about failure. I know we don't like to talk about failure. I don't like to talk about failure, but it is something that we have to come to terms with because it happens. There is something about this thing, failure. It's almost like a gravitational pull that affects our mindset, our desires. It slows us down. And in some cases, it literally holds us back from what we were hoping to achieve. As I work with leaders all around the nation, I hear the stories, the personal stories and the corporate stories of how they're trying to break free from that gravity of failure. Now, the failure doesn't happen because they're lacking desire, inspiration, strategies, knowledge, or talent. They've got all of that. They do, and you and I have all of that as well. But there is one common denominator that tends to affect us the most, and it's what I see everywhere I go. That one common denominator is some form of baggage that's unresolved. Did you just think of somebody who had baggage? I saw that look on your face. Don't look at them right now. Don't do that. You know, it's really easy to think of other people who have baggage, but it's a much different thing and a much more challenging thing to think of ourselves and the baggage that we have. It takes a little courage to address that. Now, we can make a long list of the different kinds of baggage that hold people back, but I have found that there are 2 that tend to affect us the most, and we don't really want to admit it. I want to share those 2 with you right now. The first is the past, and the second is, believe it or not, the future. Let's think about the past for a moment. Now, I don't mean the past that has failures in it, past mistakes, past excuses, past relationships. I'm not thinking about that. I'm actually referring to the past that we like. Our past success, past relationships, past things that have grounded us, that we adore and hold up in esteem. That past, believe it or not, can be like baggage that's holding us back. Let me explain. I'll give you a quick example. A guy named Joe that I've been working with for a number of years, the leader of an organization that has been struggling for probably about 20 years now. Joe and I were having a conversation. We're taking a walk on a trail around a lake. And as we were walking, talking about a current challenge he was working through, he reached down and he picked up 2 rocks, put one in his left hand, and with the other, bent down and skipped that rock out over the surface of the lake, and we just watched until it disappeared. I was waiting for him to take the second rock and throw it, but he turned and he started to walk away. And as he walked away, I heard him say, I have spent my career in this place doing everything I can to prevent it from failing. I was given a trust from the leaders who have gone before me to do everything I can to make sure it didn't fail and to honor their investment and their sacrifices. But right now, I feel like All I'm doing is propping up memories, and we're not building any momentum. And I knew what he meant. I had walked through their building. It felt like a museum. Every wall, there was a picture of a past leader or a plaque commemorating some previous success. And there wasn't a single thing in their entire facility that indicated there was a future vision or anything exciting or anything current that was generating some interest for their employees. Everything was about the past. He looked at me and he said, Stephen, I'm afraid that we're going to lose it all. And I don't know what to do. I looked at him and I said, Joe, you're going to have to decide what you're going to do with that rock. He looked at the rock and then looked at me like I'd lost my mind. And so I continued. Winning in today's marketplace means that you have to let go of the past. It doesn't mean that you dishonor the past or that you disown it or you totally abandon it. It simply means you have to come to a point where you're willing to let go of your attachment to the good old days and to give your people permission to begin to dream some new dreams and to create some new progress, something forward motion. That's what you need to do. You see, Joe, in order to make a splash, you're going to have to toss that rock. He was doing everything he could to avoid failure. But you know, trying not to fail does not have the same kind of passion and energy as seeking to win. They're very different, aren't they? Are you propping up memories? Building a museum? Or are you creating momentum? Do you need to let go of the past? You see, when we let go of the past, then we can start thinking about the future. And, well, wait a minute. Didn't I say the future could be baggage? Well, let's think about future for a little bit. It's not really the future itself that becomes the baggage. It is our dependency on other people to lead the way into our future that could become our baggage. You see, the more that we depend on someone else to take the next steps and for us to follow, the more we become solely dependent on their focus, their dreams, their energy. It begins to literally diminish our own self-confidence. When I was a little boy, my dad bought some property in the mountains of Idaho to build a cabin. Now, when I say cabin, I don't mean the big palatial house that looks out over the lake. I mean rustic cabin, no power, no plumbing, heated with an old wood stove. That's where we would go for vacation. And we would have a blast. Every summer we'd go up for weeks at a time and loved going there. Now, I was a little boy and I would have on occasion, well, actually nightly, a need to go to the bathroom, which was problematic because we didn't have indoor plumbing. We had what we called the 30-yard dash house. It was out the back door and through the woods in the dark, and I just couldn't go on my own. And so when I had to go, I'd wake up my dad. Dad, I need to go. And he would stir himself up and grab the flashlight. We'd climb down the ladder from the sleeping loft, go to the back door where he would begin to dismantle our security system. I don't know what was outside. All I know was that it had to be absolutely horrific. A monster. It could just swallow you up in one single bite. Because my father had a latch on the door, a wooden bar that crossed as a crossbeam, and a metal pipe, a really heavy metal pipe that leaned up against the door as a prop. And he would take all the security measures off, and then we would step outside, and he would take me on the path through the woods up to the outhouse. I'd take care of business, and we'd walk all the way back, and then we would put all the security back. That was our system. Months later, I woke in the night, and I needed to go. And so I did what I've always done. I followed the habit and the routine, and I went to my father, and I said, Dad, I need to go. And something happened that night that I wasn't expecting. He turned and looked at me, and he said, Stephen, you were old enough to go on your own. No, Dad. I can't do that. I can't do that. He said, you can do it. You know the way. You've been on that path multiple times. Here's the flashlight. Now go take the walk. No, Dad, I can't do it. Go take the walk. My physical need quickly overpowered my need for greater persuasion skills. And so I gave in and I climbed down the ladder and I went to that door and I dismantled all the security and I opened the door and I took a big breath and I stepped out prepared to die. And nothing happened. I went, oh, okay. Took the flashlight and I followed the path through the trees all the way up to the outhouse. And I got to tell you, when I got there, I was relieved. That I got there in one piece. I closed the door and I put the flashlight under my arm and I took care of business. And when I was done, I turned to begin to make my way out. And to my horror, the light slipped from underneath my arm. I'm juggling the light and then suddenly into the bottom of the hole of the outhouse with the light shining straight up through the seat and into my eyes. Which brings a whole new meaning to a light at the end of the tunnel. I thought, I need that light. I looked and said, I don't need that light. Not that bad. What I need is my dad. So I opened the door and I yelled, Dad, come and get me. And I heard him respond, you can do it. Take the walk. No, Dad, I can't see. Why? I dropped the light. Where? In the hole. Silence. I heard him get out of bed, thump, thump, thump down the ladder all the way to that back door. I could feel the relief. The panic is beginning to subside. Here comes my dad to rescue me. And he got to that back door, and in the dark, I heard his voice. Stephen, start walking. No, Dad, I can't see. Stephen, you know the way. You've been on that path many times. You can do it. Take the first step. No, Dad, I can't do it. I can't do it. Stephen, just follow the sound of my voice. Trust yourself to make the walk. Deep breath. First step. Second step. And I felt my way through the darkness until I finally got to the clearing where I saw my dad's silhouette in the door and I ran to him. I was so excited because I had a new confidence and a new awareness that I could do this. And I could do it on my own. The past and the future. Sometimes we got to let go of the future in the sense that it's always dependent on someone else and learn to take our own steps to experience what that future is all about. Now, I don't know what goals you have, but I'd like to consider this. Wherever you are on the path of achieving those goals, I want to give you 3 things to consider that I believe will encourage you and I hope will help you to achieve those goals so that you'll be part of the 8% that actually achieve them. Here are those 3 things. Toss the rock. Take the walk. And leave the baggage behind.